Well, what I do realize is that as of right now, no other Chicago Sky game have been moved to the United Center, except for one, Indiana Fever.
Have you ever witnessed a sporting event where the venue suddenly felt inadequate? Where the buzz surrounding a game was so immense that the regular stadium simply couldn't contain it? Something unusual is happening in the world of women's basketball, specifically in the WNBA. Arenas typically sized for comfortable crowds are suddenly being deemed too small. Teams are scrambling, not for better players or new strategies, but for bigger spaces. And the truly intriguing part? This isn't a league-wide surge affecting every team equally. This venue upheaval is laser-focused, triggered by the presence of a single electrifying player. Why are WNBA teams suddenly desperate for more seats, and why is this phenomenon so narrowly concentrated around games featuring one particular athlete? Something seismic is shifting in the WNBA landscape, and while it may appear to be just about basketball on the court, it's actually a compelling narrative woven with threads of unprecedented star power, undeniable economic forces, and a budding rivalry that's not just capturing headlines, but fundamentally reshaping the contours of the game itself. Prepare to delve into the story behind the exploding arenas, because the truth about who is truly igniting this WNBA boom might challenge your assumptions, and it's definitely leaving one prominent rising star feeling decidedly sidelined.
And speaking of United Center, it'll also play host to a pair of WNBA games for the first time this season. The Sky announcing their matchups, hosting the Indiana Fever will be moved from Wintrust to the UC, has about double the capacity, so more tickets available to watch Caitlin Clark.
The Chicago Sky, a respected franchise in the WNBA, recently detonated a scheduling surprise that reverberated throughout the league and ignited a fiery debate. Their announcement wasn't about a blockbuster trade or a coaching shakeup. It was about location, specifically the location of two upcoming home games. They revealed plans to relocate not just one, but two contests from their familiar Wintrust Arena to the colossal United Center. Now, for those unfamiliar, the United Center isn't just any venue. It's a Chicago landmark, the hallowed home of the legendary Chicago Bulls, a sprawling stadium boasting a capacity exceeding 20,000 spectators. This is double the number of fans that Wintrust Arena can comfortably accommodate. The sheer scale of this upgrade is significant, signaling a dramatic shift in expectation, but the real intrigue lies in the specificity of these relocated games. These weren't random matchups chosen for the United Center spotlight. They were pointedly both scheduled against the Indiana Fever. And the Indiana Fever, of course, are the team headlined by rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. This is where Angel Reese enters the narrative. A rising star in her own right for the Chicago Sky, Reese's reaction to this venue shift was palpable. In interviews, she voiced open bewilderment, even a hint of pique regarding the decision. She directly questioned the rationale behind prioritizing only games against Caitlin Clark for this grand venue upgrade. "Why are only Caitlin Clark games moving to the United Center?" she inquired, her tone laced with unmistakable puzzlement. This reaction speaks volumes. It suggests a possible disconnect between Reese's perception of her own draw and the stark reality of the situation unfolding around her. It's a moment of raw, unfiltered emotion colliding with the cold, calculated logic of sports business. Ouch. That question hangs in the air, thick with unspoken implications. Is Angel Reese perhaps overlooking the broader dynamics at play? Is she missing the forest for the trees in this arena-sized shift? Let's step away from the immediate drama and delve into the irrefutable data, the unarguable numbers that illuminate the true driving force behind this unprecedented WNBA venue scramble.
So it looks like the Chicago Sky have finally done what we've been asking for, which was to schedule the games against the Fever at the United Center. And also, in case you weren't already aware, the United Center is the biggest basketball arena in the country. Both home games against the Fever have been scheduled at the United Center.
Let's dispense with any lingering ambiguity and state the central truth unequivocally. The driving force behind this WNBA arena revolution is Caitlin Clark. Her name isn't just whispered in marketing meetings or casually mentioned on sports broadcasts. It's the central element in a league-wide economic equation. This isn't mere media hype or fleeting social media buzz. This is a demonstrable, quantifiable phenomenon reflected in ticket sales, attendance records, and a palpable surge of interest in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark transcends the typical label of popular player. She is a bona fide cultural phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation athlete whose impact is being measured not just in points and assists, but in packed arenas and overflowing coffers. Last season, during her rookie campaign with the Indiana Fever, Clark didn't simply attract crowds, she magnetized them. Think of it, nearly 341,000 fervent fans streamed through the turnstiles of Gainbridge Fieldhouse throughout the season, a figure that obliterates previous franchise records, rewriting the attendance history books in a single year. This wasn't a gradual climb or a modest increase, it was an explosive surge, a testament to Clark's unparalleled drawing power. Now consider this in stark contrast to the Chicago Sky's attendance figures, even with the presence of Angel Reese, a player who undeniably generates her own share of excitement and headlines. While the Sky undoubtedly have a dedicated fan base, their attendance numbers, while respectable, simply don't reach the stratosphere occupied by Clark and the Fever. To suggest that Reese and Clark are currently operating on the same plane of public interest, at least in terms of immediate ticket-buying fervor, is to ignore the glaring disparity evident in the attendance data. It's a comparison akin to contrasting the steady glow of a distant star with the blinding brilliance of a supernova. The reality, stark and undeniable, is that masses of people are currently flocking to witness Caitlin Clark play basketball, a level of sustained and intense public interest rarely witnessed in the WNBA, and frankly unmatched by any other player currently in the league. And this isn't just a localized Indiana phenomenon confined to Indianapolis. This isn't a regional surge, it's a seismic shift reverberating throughout the entire WNBA landscape.
When Caitlin coming to town, man, all these teams are going to cash in on that. It's just the nature of the business at this point. One fan saying, let's go Fever, taking over the United Center. I can't wait. The Angel Reese effect? No. They know better than to leave free money on the table when the face card comes to town. Yeah, man, because we remember last time Caitlin Clark was there, bro, the arena erupted.
The Chicago Sky's decision to relocate games to the United Center isn't an isolated anomaly, a quirky one-off event. It's a highly visible symptom of a much larger, more pervasive trend sweeping across the Women's National Basketball Association. It's a leading indicator of a league-wide recalibration, a collective response to a force of nature named Caitlin Clark. Cast your gaze across the WNBA map, and a compelling pattern emerges with striking clarity. Teams from diverse markets, representing various fan bases and organizational structures, are independently arriving at the same calculated conclusion. The Washington Mystics, representing the nation's capital, the glitzy Las Vegas Aces, reigning champions and perennial contenders, the Atlanta Dream, a team with a passionate Southern following, the Dallas Wings, cultivating a strong Texas presence, and the Connecticut Sun, a consistent force in the Eastern Conference. These franchises, seemingly disparate, are all executing the same strategic maneuver. They are all, with remarkable synchronicity, opting to transfer their scheduled games against the Indiana Fever to significantly larger venues, often NBA-sized arenas capable of holding thousands more spectators. Consider the implications. These aren't small market teams struggling for attendance. These are established franchises making proactive, financially driven decisions. This isn't about accidental scheduling quirks or pre-existing team rivalries suddenly intensifying. This is about responding to a demonstrable, overwhelming surge in demand, a tidal wave of public interest directly linked to one specific player. These venue upgrades, these logistical shifts, all share a common denominator. They are specifically and exclusively implemented for games where Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are the visiting team. It's as though the entire league is participating in a coordinated, albeit unspoken, effort to capitalize on a once-in-a-generation gold rush, and the precious commodity fueling this frenzy is unequivocally Caitlin Clark. So arenas are expanding, tickets are vanishing at record speed, and the very infrastructure of the WNBA is being subtly yet powerfully reshaped. But beyond the logistical and economic transformations, a vibrant conversation is erupting online. What are fans, commentators, and casual observers saying about this unprecedented phenomenon? The public reaction, as you might expect, is a fascinating mix of excitement, debate, and more than a little bit of pointed commentary.
It seems the Chicago Sky have had to move 2 of their home games to a larger facility, a larger basketball facility. I'm sure, no doubt, this is the Angel Reese effect. I've got no doubts, no qualms. There's nothing. She even told me herself right here that it's not just one other player. It's because of her too.
The digital realm has become a veritable battleground of opinions, a dynamic forum where excitement clashes with skepticism and fervent support intertwines with sharp criticism. Social media platforms are ablaze with commentary, speculation, and often pointed questions surrounding the WNBA's venue adjustments and the undeniable Caitlin Clark effect. Fans, analysts, and even casual observers are dissecting every angle of this unfolding narrative, and the online discourse is anything but muted. A dominant theme emerging from this digital deluge is the stark observation that it is overwhelmingly, almost exclusively games featuring Caitlin Clark that are receiving the VIP treatment of upgraded larger venues. Online forums, comment sections, and social media feeds are overflowing with pointed inquiries. Why is it only Clark's games that warrant NBA arenas? Why aren't other marquee matchups, even those featuring established stars, triggering the same scramble for expanded seating? People are articulating the unspoken questions, voicing the observations that perhaps league officials and team executives are hesitant to state so directly. Why aren't Angel Reese's games or matchups featuring other prominent WNBA players generating the same level of intense public demand? Not a single contest featuring Angel Reese, for instance, has prompted a similar venue relocation, a fact that hasn't escaped the notice of eagle-eyed fans and commentators. And this disparity has ignited a direct questioning of Reese's own pronouncements regarding her marketability and drawing power. Is Angel genuinely commanding the same level of public attention and ticket-buying enthusiasm as she seems to believe? Online, the sentiment is often less than charitable. One viral tweet encapsulated the prevailing debate with biting succinctness. "My goodness, America's team versus a team who has the person who is the scourge of society. Oh God, oh man," a quote they watch for me too. This tweet, referencing Reese's own assertion that fans tune in for her too, is dripping with sarcasm, highlighting the perceived disconnect between Reese's self-promotion and the observable data. The reference to Barbie Night and fundraising game further underscores the online mockery, suggesting that Clark's appearances are being cynically viewed as pure financial opportunities for opposing teams. The underlying irony, amplified across countless online posts, is the stark contrast between Angel Reese's repeated attempts to position herself as Caitlin Clark's equal in terms of influence and impact, and the inconvenient truth presented by the venue upgrades and attendance figures. While Reese has been diligently cultivating her personal brand and promoting a narrative of shared stardom, the tangible evidence, the hard data points, are painting a demonstrably different picture. The digital conversation is vibrant, often contentious, and undeniably revealing, underscoring the complex and often uncomfortable realities of star power and market dynamics in professional sports. Okay, the online world is buzzing, the teams are reacting decisively, but let's dissect the core driver of all this activity, the raw, undeniable economic engine that is the Caitlin Clark phenomenon.
One of the hottest tickets in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark coming back to the city that she owns, coming back to Chicago after Chicago gave her such a warm welcome last year. They threw Barbie Night for Caitlin Clark's arrival. They gave her pink towels. The fans were lined up on the side. She was signing autographs. How is Chicago going to welcome Caitlin Clark this next year around? How are they going to top Barbie Night in a 9,000 seat arena? Well, easy. We move Barbie Night to a 21,000 seat arena.
Let's pivot from online chatter and fan speculation to the bedrock of professional sports, the financial realities, the cold, hard economics that ultimately dictate decisions and shape league strategies. Because beneath the surface of packed arenas and viral social media moments lies a powerful and transformative economic force, and its name is Caitlin Clark. Consider the projected financial windfall from those two United Center games. These aren't merely symbolic gestures of appreciation for fan enthusiasm. They are meticulously calculated business decisions with substantial monetary implications. Industry analysts estimate that these two Fever Sky matchups in the larger venue are poised to generate an additional $4 million in revenue compared to hosting them at the smaller Wintrust Arena. $4 million from just two basketball games. To fully grasp the magnitude of this figure, one must understand the historical financial context of the WNBA. For years, the league has grappled with profitability challenges, operating often on tight margins and striving for sustained financial stability. In this context, an injection of $4 million from a mere 2 events is not just a welcome bonus. It's a potentially game-changing financial lifeline. It's not a cherry on top of an already profitable enterprise, it's a substantial revenue surge that can impact team budgets, player salaries, and the overall financial health of the league. Think about the broader implications. A single player capable of generating an extra $4 million for just 2 home games. That's not just incremental growth, it's an exponential leap. This isn't driven by marketing spin or manufactured hype, it's rooted in demonstrable economic principles. Remember the compelling statistics cited by Emmanuel Ayo? His analysis indicated that in the mere 5 days preceding the WNBA draft, Caitlin Clark's impending arrival generated more economic value for the league than it might have accrued in the subsequent 5 years without her presence. The attendance figures themselves further solidify this economic narrative. Angel Reese's games, while drawing respectable crowds, averaged around 9,000 attendees last season. A solid number until juxtaposed with the astonishing average of nearly 17,000 fans flocking to Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever games. That's almost double the attendance, a dramatic difference that translates directly into significantly higher ticket revenue, concession sales, merchandise purchases, and overall game day economic activity. And the Clark effect isn't confined to home games in Indianapolis, it travels with her. The Fever, as a visiting team, drew a staggering 36% more fans on the road than any other WNBA franchise. Wherever Caitlin Clark played, arenas filled, cash registers rang, and the economic benefits cascaded throughout the host city. According to official WNBA data, Caitlin Clark is directly credited with generating over a quarter of the entire league's revenue in the past year. This isn't a marginal uptick, it's a transformative economic stimulus package delivered by a single extraordinary player. It's undeniable, the financial data is overwhelming, but amidst this undeniable economic boom, where does Angel Reese, a player also striving for prominence in this rapidly evolving WNBA, truly fit into this new landscape?
My goodness. America's team versus a team who has the person who is the scourge of society. Oh, God. Oh, man. Quote, they watch for me, too. Barbie night? Which one is Barbie night? You got to think one of the two is going to be Barbie night, right? Look at this. Laughing my ass off. Caitlin is really giving every single team a fundraising game. I am weak. My GOAT is simply different.
While Caitlin Clark's on-court performances are sparking venue transformations and shattering attendance records, Angel Reese's endeavors beyond the basketball court have thus far yielded a different set of results. Her participation in the unrivaled 3x3 League, while offering valuable experience and exposure, didn't trigger the same kind of viewership surge or media frenzy associated with Clark's appearances. This contrast highlights a critical distinction. Clark's mere presence is prompting tangible, large-scale logistical and economic shifts across multiple cities, while Reese's star power, at least in the commercial realm, hasn't yet translated into comparable league-altering impact. A particularly pointed fan comment from the transcript cuts to the core of this disparity. Maybe if Angel focused less on who's getting attention and more on developing a reliable jump shot, she wouldn't have to worry about venue sizes. While perhaps delivered with a degree of harshness, this comment touches upon a crucial aspect of sustained athletic success: on-court performance. While marketability and personality undoubtedly play a role in building a sports star, consistent excellence in their chosen sport remains the foundation of enduring influence. Even a Chicago-based Sky fan offering a more nuanced perspective acknowledged the broader benefits of the United Center move, emphasizing that it ultimately increases accessibility to women's basketball for a wider audience. This perspective underscores that the expansion of venues, driven by the Clark effect, is not just about individual player popularity, it's about the overall growth and visibility of the WNBA, a rising tide that ideally should lift all boats. Basketball analysts and commentators suggest that Angel Reese might best navigate this complex dynamic by redirecting her focus inwards, channeling her competitive drive towards refining and elevating her own game. The central question isn't whether people are watching for Angel too. Undoubtedly, she has a dedicated and growing fan base. The more pertinent question is whether she will seize this moment, this stark and unavoidable comparison, as potent motivation to hone her skills, expand her offensive repertoire, and solidify her on-court dominance. Will she use this situation to fuel self-improvement and silence her critics through sheer athletic prowess, or will she allow perceived slights and comparisons to detract from her own development? Ultimately, in the demanding world of professional sports, sustained success and undeniable impact are often forged in the crucible of competition, where the hardest truths are frequently reflected not in social media metrics or marketing campaigns, but in the unforgiving clarity of box scores and, yes, the undeniable evidence of attendance figures. Let's conclude with a clear and unambiguous assessment. The WNBA's strategic venue adjustments are not rooted in subjective biases or preferential treatment. They are grounded in objective economic realities, in the irrefutable logic of supply and demand. The league isn't playing favorites, it's playing smart, responding rationally to market forces. It's following the flow of capital, and right now, those financial currents are converging with undeniable force around Caitlin Clark. It's not a matter of personal opinions or biased perspectives, it's a straightforward equation of economics. The Caitlin Clark effect is not just a catchy media label, it's a demonstrable, quantifiable phenomenon with profound implications for the WNBA's present and future. But what are the long-term ramifications of this Clark-driven surge? Is this merely a fleeting moment of intense Clark mania, a temporary spike in interest destined to plateau? Or does this represent a genuine and sustainable turning point for women's basketball, a fundamental shift in public perception and commercial viability, catalyzed by the arrival of one exceptionally gifted and captivating athlete? And within this dynamic and rapidly evolving landscape, how will Angel Reese navigate her own path to sustained success and enduring stardom? Will she rise to the challenge, harnessing the competitive energy to propel her own game to new heights, solidifying her place as a dominant force in the league? Or will she remain perpetually in the shadow of the phenomenon she so openly rivals, her potential impact dimmed by the glare of comparison? Share your perspectives in the comments below. Do you see this as simply the Caitlin Clark effect, a temporary bubble of hype, or as something more profound, a lasting transformation for the WNBA? Engage with the conversation and remember to like, subscribe, and activate that notification bell to ensure you don't miss our next in-depth exploration into the ever-fascinating intersection of sports, business, and cultural impact.